This is episode 19 of the Collective Minds podcast. Welcome, everybody. Have a seat. You're ready for this. So, yeah. What were you saying about superpowers, Ledger?
Oh, yeah. You guys ready to get your telepathic superpowers?
I might.
They were talking about last year. Oh, you haven't heard that? They say on the 22nd of February, 2022, we're all getting telepathic superpowers, saying that we're going to go into a hallucinogenic state or something.
Wow. I want powers.
I think it's BS, but
I want powers too. I don't know.
It's probably going to be like what they were talking about last year or whatever.
Yeah. Well, if we all start getting powers, that means like someone's always going to have a cooler power than you. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
What kind of powers do you guys want?
That is a good question. I'm not sure what kind of powers I would want. That's a good one.
I don't know. Probably maybe teleporting because you can go wherever, or flying.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, people are
or
usually
telekinesis. Telekinesis would be really cool.
Or flying.
That's just kind of pervy.
If I could just be Wolverine, that'd be pretty lit, I think.
That would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool. The healing, weighing a couple thousand pounds or whatever. It'd be pretty nifty. Yeah, I don't know. Being able to turn people into fireballs would be cool. Wow. That'd be pretty nifty. What superpower would you want, Jay?
The ability to make anyone orgasm at will.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not talking about the...
I knew I liked you.
I'm talking about like if someone's going to beat you up and you make them spontaneously... like it ruins the moment, right?
You'd have lines of people trying to beat you up. It's like the mice with the cheese and the heroin or whatever, where like, fuck food, I want heroin.
Like, think about it. Like, someone's trying to beat you up. They're so pissed off. They're like in the mood to beat you up, and then all of a sudden they come in their drawers, and and then it's one of those moods where it just switches, where they're no longer man, but they're like confused. Like, why the fuck did I come in my underwear?
And it hurts. It hurts. It comes out like a frozen string cheese.
Yeah. Like
Jay would get all the ladies.
I could be we could be a duo superhero. I'll have the ability to make people shit their pants on command. So like we both attack them at once and they can't live with it.
Combo.
I'm gonna fight you. What's wrong with that guy?
Joe Biden fell down the stairs. Now he is jizzing in his pants.
Who's doing this to me? Jill?
It's the chocolate chip ice cream, bro.
Yeah, someone put something in my chocolate chip.
I would abuse my power to.
It's Russia. People. Oh yeah. If I could do it, I think at this point in my life, I would have the superpower of being able to control global warming, just so every time some crazy far lefty psychopath got mouthy, I'd start warming up the atmosphere. Please no.
And just do it in DC, man.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that would be crazy. That teleporting one is cool. That'd be pretty nifty. I always like those movies, like the Jumper movies or Nightcrawler.
Yeah, like X-Men or whatever.
It's teleporting into safes and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be lit.
Superman laser eyes would be pretty cool too.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
Hey, Austin, you'd probably want X-ray vision. Let's be honest. Come on now.
X-ray vision. Yeah, if you want to take it up a step, you just be invisible and just go stand in like bathrooms all creepy.
How did we get from superheroes to this?
You come with different powers, man.
It just sounds really good.
Yeah, I don't know. I was worried about last year. I mean, a lot of it was like a movement during the Black Lives Matter protests when they were saying, can't remember what day it was, but they're all over Twitter. They were saying that black people on a certain day were going to unlock their true genetics and have superpowers. And I thought this would be a perfect stand-up joke. I was like, everyone was doubtful, but everyone was also just a little bit scared. Oh, it's funny. Funny. All right. What else was there? Yeah, guys, the what do they call it? The great honking. How are they calling it with the trucks? Honking.
Yep.
Oh, so excited. I told my boss, I was like, we should just go park downtown in our cars. He's like, why? I'm like, let's join the trucker movement just right here. Oh, so much stuff we probably hit over too. That thing with in that Washington school that Nathan sent was pretty nifty. About 100 high school kids or whatever walked out today or walked into school without masks on, and they were like, if they kick us out, we'll just leave and go home, and then they'll have to report it to the state or whatever. That's a good idea. And it's getting to the point where people are actually.
That's like me every day. That's like me every single day.
It is. It's just getting to that point. I think everyone now is tired of it. I mean, some people have been tired of it since day one, but yeah, I don't know. He was a senior too. He's probably like, if you don't show up tomorrow, I'll beat your ass. Freshmen are like,
Jay's freshman. Not in your pants.
They're crazy. It's a good idea, but he's like, the truckers are doing it. Why can't we? Great stuff. Good for them. Took them fucking long enough. That's what I gotta say. Shit, they were sophomores when it started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Who knows what, when they were, could have been, I don't know, freshmen, sophomores, something like that. Crazy. So this article, dude, on The Guardian is talking about, this is a U.S. intelligence report by a panel of expert scientists is named pulsed electromagnetic energy and ultrasound as possible causes for the mystery of the Havana syndrome symptoms. We've talked about this before. Jay, you know what that is, right?
No.
Yes. Oh, so it comes from Havana's when it started, when the government officials were over there and they started feeling like they were being attacked, like they were getting sick and they had headaches and all these different symptoms, but no one could say what disease they got. They were testing them and shit. But they're saying it could be some sort of, what it's supposed to be is microwave waves being located at these people. But that was a few years back, right? And then when Biden and Harris got into the White House, them and people around them started getting the same kind of symptoms.
Oh, wow.
And now in a year later, now it's popping back in the news. I just saw. So interesting, which I'm sure that's Russia's fault as well. But just like the heart attack gun, they have all these different weapons we don't know about. There's a secret war upon a secret war upon a secret war upon a secret war. I saw that pop up. I was like, that's interesting.
Well, if anyone is wondering what's that beeping noise in the background, it's my smoke alarm.
Smoke alarm.
Yeah.
I can't hear it. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I figured it was in the last couple of podcasts.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. I was just guessing.
Yeah, it's cold and it's battery powered, so yeah, it thinks it's low power, but it's brand new batteries.
Dude, did you see that Whoopi Goldberg is on a 2-week grounding?
Yeah,
the show
suspension. Yeah.
Yeah, good for them. Good for her and her comments. I mean, I have no foot in the game of that argument. for any of it, but yeah, the whole genocide of Jews was definitely racist.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't understand why people would say it wasn't. I mean, her statement on it was even more racist. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like even more racist. It was like, it's not racist because you're white. Yeah, like it was white people killing white people. It's like, you know what? Here we go. You can't call everyone that's light skinned a white person. That's not how this works, right? I don't know. Maybe it does work that way. I don't know. They changed the definition of racism anyway. Which, you know, black people can't be racist, but what's her name? Candace Owens is a white supremacist, they say. The black face of white supremacy, as they call her. And then the whole Joe Rogan thing, too. I guess the White House is trying to push on that on Spotify, too. They're trying to get him to shut down.
What?
Yeah. Well, you didn't. Have you heard anything about that? All these artists started coming out and they're like, if you don't censor Joe Rogan or take him off, I don't want my music on Spotify no more. So you can't play my music on Spotify no more. Like a bunch of crybabies because he's having like official doctors come on and talk about what they think about this whole shit that's going on. And so they're trying to censor him. And Spotify was like, whatever. And then now they're going to put like a thing on the front that was like, this may have different views to whatever. Check with your doctor. Blah, blah. And then it's starting to sound like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which Joe Rogan is like leading the way in news because every time he talks about something on his podcast, the left-wing media will talk about it later and like go off about him. So he's like in the news consistently for the past couple months. I mean, it all started pretty much with the whole ivermectin thing. Yeah. Crazy stuff we got going on in the world today. All right, hold on. I'll be right back.
Beep.
Beep. Beep, beep.
Yeah, this whole trucker thing.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna turn into what is that called? The thing that have you heard of that event in Kazakhstan where the people just had enough?
Like protest?
Well, not protest, but basically they rose up against their government and then going after the officials and stuff. Even the police and military, they're going after them because if they were like, if you're not with us, then you're against us, kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
I think that's gonna happen in Canada. Like those truckers, they have a lot of power. Like if they're not moving stuff around, people aren't getting supplies. And they have a big say in this whole thing.
For sure. Especially all the people going out with them.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know if everyone just came out and said we're done with the mandates, we're done with the bullshit, it'd all end.
Yeah.
Like I pointed that out to Nathan the other day about he said something about companies getting mandates removal or something about rights. And I was like, they've never lost the rights. It's unconstitutional to fine these companies for, people not wearing masks or whatever, any of it. The government doesn't give us our rights. They're called inalienable rights. It means that they cannot be changed, taken away, moved, anything like that without due process in a court. So like, felons here can't have a gun, but they've had their due process and day in court. And the government, people don't realize that the government doesn't give us our rights. This country was created by the people. The people said, these are our rights, and then created a government that signed saying they are inalienable. And that's it. The people gave themselves the rights when they, fought England for them and then created their own government that's based around those. So the idea of a government taking away your rights or making special rules and stuff to change it it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And I listen to a lot of Steven Crowder, and he points that out, where people are like, yeah, Canada and all these countries have freedom of speech. He's like, no, they don't. It's not a constitutional amendment. It's not an actual right these people have. Their government says they can say these certain things, but people can be jailed for saying certain stuff. They can be in trouble. And, in America, you can't. You know what I mean? It's your freedom of speech, even hate speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, these truckers, man, they're doing good. They're just standing up. It's a big group, is what it is. But the people are following them. And I feel like a lot of people have just been scared this whole time, and now they're just tired of the shit. I mean, who's tired of waking up? You know what I mean? Like, I wake up every day and don't even like realize it. You know what I mean? Like that this is even going on. It's not a part of my life. And then I'll go to certain places or events will happen where it like becomes, like if I go to the casino, you have to wear a fucking mask the whole time. Nowhere else except for like 5 minutes at work, I'll have to do this. And that's when it like becomes part of my life. And I'm like, this is ridiculous, like this is weird. But for other people, dude, this is their everyday life. And some of them love it. Some of them absolutely hate it. But it's like people got to learn. I mean,
yeah, I keep on like glitching out, so I'm gonna have to leave. Yeah, like it's really bad.
Are you about to? Well, you sounded clear right there.
Okay, it keeps on going in and out.
That's all right. Just try it if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave and then come back.
Okay. All righty. But yeah, Jay, you and your topic you brought for us today. Dude, I've been so excited to hear about this. So let's just...
Oh, really?
Yo, yeah, dude. Let's just take a second, see if Ledger pops right back in. And then you have the mic for sure. Give him a couple of seconds. Oh. He's connecting. I missed you. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right, perfect. All right, so Jay's taking the wheel. He's presenting he's going to bring us down a rabbit hole from which we may never come back out of.
Well, this rabbit hole isn't that deep. I'm not gonna dig into this really deep, but it does touch on a whole lot of subjects that I'm pretty sure some of the listeners have listened or like heard of a little, and it kind of ties into each one of those subjects. So,
yeah, you're about to get the juices moving, bro.
Before the podcast started, I said this subject is around Shangri-La. If people don't know anything about it, it's a mythical place where it's like an underground paradise, where it's just like pure paradise underground, where a civilization super advanced lives there, and they have like technology and knowledge that far surpasses our current technology and knowledge. But that's not the subject I'm talking about. But it's related. Just keep that in mind. So the actual subject I'm actually will be talking about is a place called Agartha. Have you guys heard about it?
I have not heard about that. Is it
I
Mugartha?
heard about that.
No, Agartha. Agartha.
Oh, okay. If you can bring the mic just a little bit closer, I think it might be my headphones. I'm not sure.
Is this better?
I think it's say something.
Something.
Seems a little better.
A little bit better?
Yeah, you're getting better. That was better.
Okay. Yeah, Agartha. Do you guys know anything about it? Ledger, you said you heard about it.
No, I said I didn't.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't heard about it.
Okay, well, Agartha, basically there's a legend in India that predates the Hindu religion. It tells about a large island that has like unimaginable beauty. It supposedly it's in the Indian Ocean. Supposedly it sits there per like people's research, but based off of the translated stories from the Indian language, it's supposed to be north of the modern day Himalayas. Right now, if you go to the world map, north of the Himalayas is just more mountains, right? But I think this happened like centuries ago, or like, I don't know, maybe a millennium, like 1,000 years, where the Himalayas hasn't been formed yet, and then there was still like a body of water or like a ocean or whatever still in that location. So it was said that there was a race of godlike people who live on that island. They did not have a lot of communication outside to the remainder of the world, but there were. Go ahead.
I think I've heard of a show kind of like that actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot what it was called. But it like cuts to them back, like in the day, and like, I'm trying to think, and like they go to this island, and they have like powers, or like they get some weird, like god, like I don't know, but it was really weird.
So I'm looking at the map, man, and you said it's about an island, like
it's
near
north of the Himalayas.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on the map, dude. You can literally see where an island was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. I'm looking at it right now, and all around it. So south, you got India. West, you got Pakistan, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan goes around it, and to the far right is China, and you can see, which it looks blue on here, but most of it's not water. I think it's just a really low land mass, but you can see that you can see the form of a giant, almost circular island, which technically it's a giant mountain. It's like from Tibet all the way up to Turpan, and then to the right is Qinghai, and then to the left is Ladakh.
I think that's the general location. So
it's huge. It's huge. It's like bigger than the India. It's like its own continent almost. It's huge, but you could see the form of it, like where however long ago it could have been an actual island. It's weird. It's just weird that you said that, and I was looking at it on the map.
Oh, awesome. Well, so um, so the people of that island, like centuries, thousands of years ago, um, they supposedly abandoned the island because there was an impending cataclysm that would destroy the island. So throughout history, we hear about all these cataclysms, right? The Great Flood, the Great, like what is it,
Well,
Atlantis? It was hit by like a
what to say?
big disaster.
Yeah,
The meteors and
like the mysterious island, like that.
the Great
Yeah.
Freeze.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, historically there's like a lot of great flood stories, even in the Bible, with Noah, right? That wiped out civilization around the world. Um, what else? What is that Greek guy? Um, Plato? Is it Plato? Like he,
Yeah.
Pluto.
Plato. Yeah,
It's Plato.
he wrote about a story where um, the Greek god Zeus was punishing humanity with a great flood, and like modern archaeologists and historians, have you guys watched the History Channel way back when it was like popular?
Yeah, probably.
There were episodes and shows where they put up content. It's funny how we say content now, but they put up a show like documenting. Oh, they went to the Grand Canyon and they're seeing all these layers of sediment, mud, and whatnot, and then they can clearly see in a certain layer of dirt that there was like a great flood, like the whole world was covered in water or something like that. And then it was documented in like solid rock.
And Egyptian stuff.
Yeah.
Allegedly, yeah, it was found in the Grand Canyon. But they actually have it. So they actually have it proof of the great floods.
Yeah.
And other things from the Grand Canyon within its layers. That's pretty cool. That should be
Yeah.
in our history books.
So for this group of people that was godlike, had powers and had a good technological and like vast amount of knowledge. So supposedly this island that they were living on had like thousands of miles of caves underneath the island. And the story goes that the whole civilization used these caves to escape their island and find a new place to live. Some say it's called Shangri-La. Some people think it's hollowed earth. You know, one of those big caverns under the world, and there's like the sun and things are still growing in there. Could also say this also kind of relates to who's that admiral? Admiral Byrd. If you guys don't know Admiral Byrd, go look him up and listen or read up on his expedition to Antarctica.
Yes.
Where he brought a whole fleet of like a whole naval fleet. Like I'm saying like battleships. I don't know if they had carriers back then. Support ships, cruisers, like the whole shebang, like a whole fleet. He brought that whole fleet down to Antarctica, and what he encountered was some real shit. They got attacked, and some of this information has been released because it's that old. So do your research. But
I wonder how much it would be to like make a trip to that island or whatever.
this island, this place.
Yeah, the island. That place.
Well, supposedly it's been destroyed, right? Because of the cataclysm.
I mean,
and it's like people have been trying to go to that location. So here is my.
It almost reminds me of have you guys seen that movie Journey 2, like with The Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that.
That's exactly.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
What it's about.
Yeah.
Which Admiral Byrd is known, like people take from that is the maps he drew, and what he talked about is like the center for the flat earth theory. But the big part of it could be that he wasn't talking, because allegedly it shows that Antarctica past that is actually a whole multiple continents, but what it could be is actual depictions of continents underneath the crust that we're on of the planet.
Yeah. Supposedly, he took one of those old prop planes and was flying for like hours, where he eventually appeared in like some unknown place where it was like nice and green, and the temperature wasn't cold. And well, anyway, you guys can research that. I don't want to get into that right now. That's a whole different episode.
Yeah, that's a lot of shit to unpack for sure.
Yeah. But to your point, Ledger, people have been trying to look for this place. A lot of people have been looking for entrances. Some people
might have to fly into the eye of an hurricane.
Say again?
Oh, I said we might have to fly into an eye of a hurricane.
That's how they control the weather.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
That's another topic. Allegedly, AJ talked to somebody that used to fly into hurricanes and tsunamis and stuff.
Wow.
And they were able to, this is like in the 50s, control those hurricanes, or what is it? It's not pontoon, it's whatever they're called on the West Coast. But they had the technology to be able to fly into them and direct them, and to either like put them out or make them worse and direct them and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Side note.
So that's the story. There was this ancient civilization where they had godlike powers. They had this vast knowledge of technology and, I guess, knowledge in general. And their island was destroyed, or part of a cataclysm. So they moved supposedly underground through these tunnels. And that's where they've been this whole time, supposedly. The reason why I brought up Shangri-La is because supposedly Shangri-La is underground in some place in Asia, where when you get there, it's like nice green jungle. It's not cold. There's a sun there, or some sort of light source, and there's like a civilization there, or if it's still around. So Agartha could be Shangri-La, because Shangri-La is like a story from the Asian side, and like this Agartha story is more from India. So if you guys want to write this guy's name down.
Which one?
And his name is Alexandre Senier. He's French.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have to Alexandre.
Let me put that in the chat.
Oh, okay. All right. I was about to start making up French names really quick. You know what it sounds like to me? With all of it, it sounds like once again we're seeing the same story almost to the T of every group of people living around the world. Like with Sasquatch, each one has their own thing that's exactly the same thing, just a little bit different. People have Atlantis. People have, oh, what was it? Agartha?
Agartha, yeah.
Yeah, and it's spelled without the H at the end. I'm looking at that map of it right now, and then there's the other one from the Great Mud Flood that's in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's tons of them. I mean, every single continent has the same story. All to me, it kind of points to that maybe every continent. So think of like a volcano, you know, they like to say that mountains are trees and stuff, but let's just think of it as a volcano, that each continent could be a mega volcano, right?
Yeah.
Well, volcanoes are active or they're inactive, right? When a volcano is dead, you know, only part of it's out of the ground. That's what makes the mountain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or in this case, a continent. Inside of that volcano, if it's not filled with magma, you know, lava or anything, it's hollow.
Mm-hmm.
So think of if each continent is actually a giant dead volcano, what we're living on is only what, 30% of it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Underneath that could be hollow.
Wow.
And then the idea of it being perfectly warm, suitable for life, able to, you know, minerals, different things that we don't have here because it was created from like the core of the planet or anything like that, like metals and stuff that you don't, you know, that you would say those are alien, they come from somewhere else. No, they could come from here, just thousands of miles underneath the planet. But it's a biodome is what these are, and that's why they're always described as like a utopia, like a great place to be, you know, amazing. And that's why everything thrives there, because it's a biodome. It is perfectly balanced and it keeps itself that way naturally, which does on top of the earth too. But if you think about it, you know, I mean, technically, whether you're like flat earth theory or which is still just a biodome theory, or, you know, globe ball theory, we have the our atmosphere, which is also a biodome theory. But what if your biodome was made out of thousands and thousands of years of concentrated metallized, melted, compounded rock, to where it could keep the temperatures, the humidity, and in some way create its own light source, which people think, you know, that's weird. Like many theories on that, but crystals, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, the sun is just allegedly just a big old ball of burning fucking gas.
Mm-hmm.
What were crystals made from? Or certain crystals or diamonds and shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, compressed carbon, right?
Yeah, burning balls of rock.
Yeah.
You know, crazy, bro. Yeah, I just learned a few things I did not think of when you were going into that. I know why you don't want to go into it. There's so much to break down, but I do have some questions though. I do. I need answers, Jay. Come on, man.
Well, let me continue with this guy.
Okay. I want to hear about him.
So Alexandre, this guy was like a philosopher back in the like 1800s, mid 1800s. And he was also an occultist. So back then, I didn't know this before, but back then in France, in the 1800 period, like occultism was like the thing. There was like countless amounts of occult practices, and they were out in the open. There's like a club back then. So like, oh, you're a part of this group. Okay, we believe blah 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 blah, and we practice blah 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 blah. So yeah, back then, occultism practices or being in an occult, like the Masons or I don't know if the Illuminati was around back then, but like there were like a whole bunch of them around back then, and he was a member of I forgot the name, but he was an occultist, and he had an obsession of learning more about occultism and in the metaphysical and all the really weird stuff that occults do. So he heard about this story, Agartha, and he tried to seek out people that had information about it, which he wasn't able to. But I guess one day he was in some sort of like college or some sort of university or whatever they called it equivalent in those days. And there was this Indian teacher. Supposedly he was one of those high royal guys, like a prince, but on the Indian side, they wear like turbans and stuff. I'm sorry if I sound racist, but I'm trying to describe this without showing pictures. But this guy, he had knowledge. I guess I'm not sure if it's first hand or second hand, but basically he had knowledge of that civilization from Agartha. He essentially taught Alexander the language, how to read the letters, how to do like the cultural practices. And supposedly he was the only one around because I guess that occult club was dying out and no one was interested in learning that stuff. But Alexander was. So that guy taught him almost everything he knew, and Alexandri, he wrote a book. But before that Indian dude was able to teach him every single thing that he knew, he was approached by another Indian guy that visited him. I'm assuming he's a part of the same occult, but not from around France, maybe from India, where he kind of evaluated Alexander, and he told the Indian guy that was teaching him to stop what he was doing, or stop giving away the secrets. So the Indian guy, he still taught Alexander, but his teachings were starting to get vague and whatnot. Like it wasn't precise. He was still teaching him stuff, but not to a point where it's actually teaching him something. Alexander did finish his book. And are you guys ready for the title of the book?
I'm ready.
Mysterious Island?
No, It's in French. It's Mission de l'Inde in Europe. You guys want to take a crack at it?
Mm,
I'm okay on them.
wait, what was it? Mission de
It's in the chat.
Lande Europe.
So basically, in English, it's supposed to be Mission de India to Europe.
Gotcha.
I think that's the translation. So when he published his book, this book, it went out to everyone and it was being read by a lot of people. I think it was a couple years that went by. The Indian teacher, he was long gone. He went back to India. And something happened where he was told to recall all the books that was sold. So there was some, I guess, some urgency. Like, I guess the stuff that he wrote in the book was like legit. Like it was a legit place, and there was a legit people with this language that he was writing about and trying to document how to read the language, speak the language in his book. So someone pulled the plug, told him to recall the book. I think all the books was recalled, and there was only one living copy. So all the books were destroyed. But there was one living copy. I forgot who retained it, but that copy had redacted information. So it's not the entire book. It's just basically a cut down version of the real book. And if you try to look for this book now, you will never find it because there was only, I think, 200 or something books ever created, in which all of them but one was essentially burned or destroyed. Yeah.
That's wild.
So when that happened,
they did a big old book burning on his ass.
Yeah.
That's never suspicious.
So supposedly years later, in like wanting to know the truth, Alexander, he actually took the trip to India to look for his old master or old teacher. If he can't find him, he would like ask around and try to look for this place, Agartha. The information on the internet got vague at that point. It's supposedly he found it because he was gone for like a year, and then he reappeared back in France, but he didn't say anything, kind of thing. Supposedly he got lost or he got injured, and he was being nursed to health by like Tibetan monks or those monks that live in the mountains.
Or an advanced race.
Yeah. But his story, he's not the only one that tried to look for this place or had an encounter with someone that knew the information. So this is by memory because I didn't write it down, unfortunately, and this is all the notes I have. There was this German guy, I think it was like late 1800s, early 1900s. About the same time as Alexander was still alive, that German guy was like one of those backpacking explorers. You can think of him as one of those stereotypical British guys in that like like the guns and shorts and like African um, tops with the pockets that's traveling all over Africa.
Yeah.
That stereotypical kind of guy, but he's traveling the world. And in his travels, he encountered a monk temple where he stayed for a bit, learning the area, learning about their culture and whatnot. And from him staying at the temple, he got to know the monks, got to know their daily routine and like the legends and information around the temple, basically. And supposedly these monks were their temple had an entrance to a underground city where once you emerge from the tunnel, it's as if you emerge from a jungle into a jungle, and there were people. There's like a civilization in that area where I forgot what the monk said. It was along the lines of they're like really highly enlightened kind of thing. So that German guy got the information. The monk didn't show him where it was, like the actual entrance, but he got that information. He continued on, like wrote it in his journal and whatnot, and continued on his other travels. Once he got back to like civilization, he wrote. He's like a reporter, traveling reporter. So he wrote like a column in, I think, the European news at that time. I think it was like a whole page or just like a section in a page, but basically he was documenting like his travels and that story with the monk. So news flew throughout Europe and in France, saying that so and so is copying so and so's story, like Alexander's story about this place in underground, and like he's copying his story from the book Alexander wrote. But it was actually two separate accounts. Alexander had his thing, and this German guy had his thing. So there's also, other than these two accounts, there was a Russian expedition, because they heard about those two stories separately, and they were interested in looking for this place. So it was like a team of 10, and they hired, I think, 3 guides in northern China to take them into the mountains to look for this place or cave entrances into Agartha. So supposedly for that team, the Russian team, they were gone for a whole year, and then they came back. I guess, and they didn't. I guess they didn't want to say anything because they said, "Oh, they didn't find anything." They were just hiking through the mountains. They stayed at a monk temple, but they were gone a whole year. One of the guys on the expedition, he was keeping a journal. His journal stopped 3 months, and nothing was written after that. So there was like a whole 7-month gap, or is it 7 month, 9 month gap of what the hell happened to you guys. So I guess years go by, and I guess the publicity of their trip died down, and supposedly they went back. So they know where the entrance was, and they went back, and that's where the story ends. Like no one had heard of them coming back or has heard of them since. So either they died on the trip back, or they found it again and they never left, so they stayed there, or I don't know, something happened. But yeah, Agartha, Shangri-La, Hollow Earth. Antarctica.
I'm looking at this diagram, dude, and the longer I look at it, the more it blows my mind. As the central sun is technically what they call the core of the earth.
Yeah.
Is what it's showing. And they've always said that it's filled with just hard rock. And I'm looking at it and I'm like doing the math on it and how like much land there would be. I mean, it shows the Pyramid of Giza and a direct tunnel to that's man-made tunnels, it says, but look at the amount of miles it is. If I'm looking at this right, it just says man-made, but that's crazy. I mean, that's 2,000 miles of man-made tunnels. Maybe I'm looking at this wrong. But yeah, that's crazy. And it's showing, like, it shows his path, how it's going and how he went. So what it is that this is based on the North and South poles, which is that the ice up there is literally like a form of a landmass of an opening, both openings on a sheet of ice. And that in those sheets of ice is melted parts of holes that are used to be able to fly through there. Like he literally flew through.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of like all of this, how do you guys feel about like Pangea and if all that?
I don't know what that is.
Pangea was the original landmass on Earth. So as the world grew, Pangea split up into the continents that we know now.
Gotcha.
I think it's believable. Like, is that what you're coming from?
Yeah, but I feel like it would look a lot different than they portray it as what it would look like. Because I feel like, because there's definitely more land masses, like continents or whatever. I mean, maybe they sunk or whatever. And
I see where you're going.
Yeah. So
maybe Pangea was what the continents were, and that these other land masses were more towards the surface at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that as they shifted outwards and away from each other, the other ones like went in. Kinda. This is wild looking at this. I mean, minus all the crafts and the civilizations, looking like the idea, and his diagram is literally showing the North and South poles like that. That's crazy to me.
You see why I chose this specific subject?
I do.
You could go any way with it.
There is, but what it's proving to me is that, I mean, once again, the government's full of shit, dude. But it's in a way like there is something. I mean, it's not coincidences. They're burning books. They're hushing people. They do that all the time with shit because there's always bigger. I was thinking about today, is there any real truth out there to anything? Because like the only thing that's ever happening is change. You know what I mean? Like one man's truth is another man's lie, even though it all maybe exists and doesn't exist. But this whole thing where there's in Antarctica, there's treaties with all the countries, right?
Yeah.
Nobody owns that.
No.
Why would they do that?
No.
If it was a mega highway to the center of the fucking planet, it would make a lot of sense for them to all own a piece of it. If there's only one road we can all take to get to a destination, we're going to share it, aren't we?
True, but if if it's not your land to begin with, you know.
Because it belongs to somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, that's what we did.
fuck.
Hey, listen. Yeah, the great. Hey, listen to this though. We
Oh, you're glitching out.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
America wasn't our land to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the difference between that is they're against guns versus bows, arrows, and hatchets.
Yeah, they could take it away from the Native Americans. The reason we don't own Antarctica, either pole, is because we can't take it away from them as humans.
Yeah.
As surface dwellers is probably what we're called. We can't take it away from them.
Probably, yeah.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, there's probably some aliens. There's aliens down there making the same exact podcast right now, talking about the air people and how their Antarctica leads to the.
I mean, this part where it says mountains higher than on outside, that's talking about the whole planet. Like where we live, all the mountains that we have. These ones are bigger than. Yeah, it's just fucking crazy.
I mean, yeah,
they're tropical fucking forests. It's an island. And I'm looking at the science of it where the top is frozen, the bottom's frozen, and then right in the center is the central sun. If you look at that, moisture goes, you know what I mean? Which in this case wouldn't be north or south. It'd be, east. I don't even know. But they're separated. You know what I'm saying? So it shows where the wind comes in, but humidity rises, right? When it's heated. But what if down there it's a little bit different to where it's trying to escape out of these holes, it's being evaporated by the central sun going up there and cooling down and freezing. So what it would look like, I believe, is each side would be a ceiling. North and south would be a ceiling of ice or a wall.
Yeah. And then think about how the magnetic field.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, the magnetic fields down there it'd be 360.
Yeah.
It'd be 3D, not 2D. Possibly. If it's spinning like that and you're on the inside instead of being on the outside. Thank you guys for listening to episode 19.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you, Jay, for a Jay episode. If you like this, make sure to like and subscribe for more breakdowns brought to you by the Collective Minds Podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, and anywhere else you like to stream from. Check us out.